giving us the port, Edna? That's right. You ought to like this port, Eric. As a matter of fact, Finch told me it's exactly the same port your father gets from him.
Then it'll be alright. The governor prides himself on being a good judge of port. I don't pretend to know much about it.
I should jolly well think not, Gerald. I'd hate you to know all about port like one of these purple-faced old men.
Here, I'm not a purple-faced old man.
No, not yet, but you don't know about port, do you?
Now then, Sybil, you must take a little tonight. Special occasion, you know.
Yes, go on, ma'am. We must drink to our health.
Very well then. Just a little. Thank you. Edna, I'll ring you from the drawing room about half an hour when you want coffee.
Yes, ma'am.
I hope I can make you as happy as you deserve to be.
You be careful, I'll start weeping.
Or perhaps this will help stop it.
Oh my gosh, Gerald! Is this the one that you wanted me to have?
Yes. Very one.
Oh my gosh, Mummy, isn't it wonderful? Such a beauty.
Yeah.
Steady the boss.
I think it's perfect. Now I really feel engaged.
So you ought to, darling. It's a lovely ring. Be careful with it.
Careful, I'll never take it off in an instant.
Well, it came just at the right moment. That was very clever of you, Gerald. Now, if you've no more to say, I think Sheila and I should leave you men.
I just want to say this. Are you listening, Sheila? I'm talking to you. After I don't know me.
Actually, Daddy, sorry, I was listening.
There's a good deal of silly talk these days. But, and I speak as a hard-headed businessman who has to take risks and knows what he's about, I say you can know all of this silly pessimistic talk. And to that, I say fiddlesticks. The Germans don't want war. Nobody wants war. Except from some half-civilized folks in the Balkans. And why? There's too much at stake these days. Everything to lose and nothing to gain by war.
Freeze! Ah, yes. The irony, am I right? Not only have we been through one, but 2 world wars. Mr. Birling here is a joke. He believes in the concept that it is every man for himself. But yet he is consistently wrong about the war and the unsinkable ship Titanic. So who's to say that if we keep living by these capitalist ways, that there won't be millions and millions of wars to come?
But take my word for it, you youngsters, and I've learnt in the good hard school of experience, that man has to mind his own business and look after himself and his own.
Somebody at the front door.
Edna, answer it.
Please, sir, the inspector's called.
Inspector? What kind of inspector?
A police inspector. He says his name is Inspector Gould.
Don't know him. Does he want to see me?
Yes, sir, he says it's important.
Alright, Edna. Show me now.
Yes,
Give us some more light.
Mr. Birling.
Yes, Inspector. Sit down.
Thank you.
Having a glass of port or a little whiskey?
No, thank you, Mr. Birling. I'm on duty.
Well, what is it then?
I'd like some information if you don't mind, Mr. Birling. 2 hours ago, a young woman died in the infirmary. She'd been taken there because she swallowed a lot of strong disinfectant. Burnt her inside out, of course.
My God!
Yes, hard business. But I don't understand why you should come here, Inspector.
I've been round to the room she had, and she left a letter there, and a sort of diary. Like a lot of young women these days who get into trouble, she tends to use more than one name. But her original name, her real name, was Eva Smith.
Eva Smith?
Do you remember her, Mr. Birling?
No. I seem to remember hearing that name, Eva Smith, somewhere. But it doesn't convey anything to me. And I don't see where I come into this.
She was employed in your works at one time.
Oh, that's it. Is it? Well, we've several hundred young women working here, you know. And they keep changing.
This young woman, Eva Smith, was quite out of the ordinary. I found a photograph of her in her lodgings. I think you remember her from that.
Freeze! I named her Eva Smith. But what does it matter to Mr. Birling? All he cared about was the money that he wasn't going to give her.
Any particular reason why I can't see this girl's photograph, Inspector?
There might be.
And the same applies to me, I suppose.
Yes.
I can't imagine what it might be.
Neither can I.
And I must say, I agree with the Inspector.
It's the way I like to go to work. One line of inquiry at a time. Otherwise, there's a muddle.
Actually, sensible, really. You've had enough of that poor Eric.
I think you remember Eva Smith now, don't you, Mr. Birling?
Yes, I do. She was one of my employees and I discharged her. Look, there's nothing mysterious or scandalous about this business. At least not so as far as I'm concerned. It's a perfectly straightforward case. And as happened more than 18 months ago, nearly 2 years ago, obviously has nothing whatsoever to do with the Ritchie girl suicide. Eh, Inspector?
No, sir. I can't agree with you there.
Why not?
Because what happened to her then may have determined what happened to her afterwards. And then what happened to her afterwards may have driven her to suicide. A chain of events.
Well, Inspector, I don't see how running my business concerns you.
No, it might be, you know.
I don't like that at all.
I'm sorry, you asked me a question.
And you asked me a question before that, a quite unnecessary question too.
But it's my duty to ask questions.
Well, it's my duty to keep labour costs down, and if I'd agreed to this demand for a new rate, we'd have added about 12% to our labour costs. Does that satisfy you? So I refused. Said I couldn't consider it. We were paying the usual rates, and if they didn't like those rates, you could go work somewhere else. It's a free country, I told them.
Freeze. Mr. Birling, a pompous, selfish capitalist. A mirror into the London's capitalist elite. What was 12 pence to him? Can't you see all of this? He was just selfish.
It isn't if you can't go and work somewhere else.
Quite so.
Rubbish. If you don't come down sharply on some of these people, they seem to be asking for the earth.
I should say so. They might. But after all, it's better to ask for the earth than to take it.
What's all this about?
Nothing to do with you, Sheila. Run along.
Actually, no, wait a minute, Miss Birling.
Look here, Inspector. I consider this uncalled for and officious. I've half a man to report you. I've told you all I know, and it doesn't seem to me very important at all. And there isn't the slightest reason why my daughter should be involved in this unpleasant business.
Freeze. Unpleasant business. I have purposely written about the female inequality to highlight how women should not be involved in unpleasant business. I use the adjective unpleasant to highlight the uncomfortable, repulsive and revolting circumstances, position or state that women should not be involved in. I stated that suicide is unpleasant business because I wanted Mr. Birling to be seen as an arrogant and overbearing person. Therefore, in order to portray this uncompassionate person, I had to use less emotive language to show his inconsideration to the lower class, therefore reflecting his upper class views and opinions.
What business? What's happening?
I'm a police inspector, Miss Birling. 2 hours ago, this afternoon, a young woman died after she drank some strong disinfectant. Burnt her entire died in that thing.
Oh, how horrible. Was it an accident?
No. She felt she couldn't go on any longer. She wanted to end her life.
Are you suggesting that one of them knows about this girl?
Yes.
You didn't come here just to see me then?
No.
You sure of your facts?
Some of them, yes.
I can't think they can be of any great consequence.
The girl's dead though.
What do you mean by saying that?
Just a minute, Sheila. Now, Inspector. Perhaps you and I had better go and talk this over quietly.
Freeze. I've written about the gender subversion to show how women can handle certain situations, not just men. Therefore, I use these lines to highlight the knowledge that women have. Also, these constant interruptions show the authority and control that the characters have. It starts off with Sheila, then shifts to Mr. Birling, and finally to the inspector in scene 4.
Why should you? He's finished with you. He said it's one of us now.
Yes, and I'm trying to settle it sensibly for you.
What happened to her then?
She seemed to have seen to her a good stroke of luck. She was taken in on a shock, and a good shock too. Millwards.
Millwards? We go there. In fact, I was there this afternoon. For your benefit.
Good.
Yes, she was lucky to get taken on in Millwards.
And after about a couple of months, just when she felt she was settling nicely, they told her she'd have to go. A customer complained about her. She had to go.
Freeze.
Basically, welcome to my thoughts. I would describe this moment in time as a snowball effect. Something small turned into something big. Something small, like her being fired, turned into something big, like her committing suicide. For example, in history, Archduke Ferdinand was shot by a gang. This gang shot him. This led to many countries fighting. World War I, then World War II. I'll describe Archduke Ferdinand in this poem, in this story, as Ava. We're trying to say actions, small actions can have big consequences.
Yes, she was lucky to get taken on at Millward.
And after about a couple of months, just when she felt she was settling in nicely, they told her she'd have to go.
When was this?
At the end of January, last year.
What did this girl look like?
You come over here, I'll show you.
You knew it was me all this time, didn't you?
I had a feeling it might be.
So I'm really responsible.
No, not entirely. A good deal happened to her after that. But you're partly to blame, just as your father is.
But what did Sheila do?
I went to the manager at Millward and I told them that if they didn't get rid of this girl, I would never shop at that shop again, and I persuaded Mother to close all our accounts.
And why did you do that?
Because I was in a furious temper.
And what had this girl done to make you lose your temper?
When I was looking at myself, I saw her smiling at the assistant in the mirror. So I was so furious. I had a bad temper anyhow.
Or was it the girl's fault?
No, not really. It was my own fault. All right, Eric, you don't have to look at me like that. At least I'm taking responsibility. I expect you've done stuff that you're embarrassed of.
So then, after that, she changed her name to Daisy Renton. What? I said she changed her name to Daisy Renton.
Do you mind if I give myself a drink, Sheila?
Well, Gerald?
Well, what, Sheila?
How'd you come to know this girl, Eva Smith?
I didn't.
Daisy Renton, then, it's the same thing.
Why should I have to know?
Oh, don't be stupid. We haven't much time. You gave yourself away as soon as he said her name.
I'm sorry, Sheila, but it was all over and done with. Last summer, I hadn't set my eyes on the girl for at least 6 months. I don't come into this suicide business.
I thought I didn't at least half an hour ago.
You don't. Neither of us does. So for God's sake, don't say anything to the inspector.
What, about you and this girl?
Yeah, you can keep it from him.
Why, you fool? Of course he knows. And I hate to know how much he knows and we don't know yet. You'll see. You'll see.
Freeze. The rich in society not only try to hide things from each other, but they also try to hide things from people of a supposed lower class. They blatantly refuse to accept responsibility for their actions, living in a mask of arrogance and secrecy.
But Miss Birling has just been made to understand what she did to this girl. She feels responsible. And if she leaves us now and doesn't hear any more, then she'll feel entirely responsible. She'll be all alone with her responsibility. The rest of tonight, or tomorrow, or the next night.
Yes, that's it. And I know I'm to blame, and I'm desperately sorry, but I won't believe it's simply my fault that in the end she committed suicide. That would be too horrible.
Freeze! For having Mrs. Birling enter so confidently, I am criticising and bringing to attention how the upper class try to intimidate the lower class, as they automatically believe they'll always have the upper hand.
Good afternoon, Inspector. I'm Miss Birling, you know. My husband has just explained why you're here, and while we're glad to tell you anything you want to know, I don't think we can help you much. I don't suppose for a moment we can understand why the girl committed suicide. Girls of that class.
Mother, don't! Please don't, for your own sake as well as ours. You mustn't.
Mustn't what? Really, Sheila?
Mother, don't. You mustn't try to build up a kind wall between us and that girl. If you do, then the inspector will just break it down and it'll be worse in the end when he does.
I don't understand you. Do you?
Yes, right.
I beg your pardon?
Yes, I said yes. I do understand her. And she's right.
That I consider is a trifle impertinent, Inspector.
Inspector, I've told you before, I don't like that tone, nor the way you're handling this inquiry. I don't propose to give you much rope.
Don't you see he's giving us the rope? so that we'll hang ourselves.
So she became your mistress? Yes. I suppose it was inevitable. She was young and pretty and warm-hearted and intensely grateful. I became at once the most important person in her life. You understand?
Yes, she was a woman. She was lonely. Were you in love with her?
Just what I was going to ask.
It was hard to say. I didn't feel about her as she felt about me.
Of course not. You were the wonderful fairy princess. You must have adored it, Gerald.
Alright, I did, for a time. Nearly any man would have. But that time came, Daisy Rent and knew it was coming to an end. So I broke off definitely before I went. How'd she do? Better than I'd hoped. She was very gallant about it.
That was nice for you.
Freeze! Here you see Sheila in a different light. She's not that frilly, pampered, head in the clouds girl you saw at the beginning of the play. No, she's sarcastic and ironic. With this, I intended to create a prototype for the new 20th century woman, one who is assertive, funny, and intelligent. By the end of the play, I did not only want to remind people of the many Eva Smiths and John Smiths, but I wanted to create a lot of Sheilas, and I hope I have succeeded.
No, it wasn't. She told me that she'd been happy. She told me that she'd been happier than she had ever been before, but that she knew it couldn't last. Hadn't expected it to last. She didn't blame me at all. I wish to God she did now. Perhaps I'd feel better about it.
Gerald, I think you better take this with you.
Well, I was expecting this.
You have a photograph of this girl?
Yes. I think you better take a look at it.
Very well.
You recognise her, Mrs. Birling?
No, why should I?
I don't think you're telling the truth.
I beg your pardon.
Look here, Inspector. I've told you before, I don't like that tone. You're going to apologise at once.
Apologise for what? Doing my duty.
No, for being so offensive about it. I'm a public man.
Public men, Mr. Birling, have responsibilities as well as privileges.
Freeze! Public men have responsibilities as well as privileges. Let that sink in. That line epitomises what I intended this play to be about. My society refuses to believe. I believe that men such as Mr. Birling, of a higher socio-economic class, have a right to at least provide an opportunity for those of a lower socio-economic class and the less fortunate to at least achieve success. Hence why the capitalist attitude of this nation needs to be eradicated if we need to move on from this war and if we need to proceed into an age of prosperity.
Mrs. Birling, you're a prominent member of the Bromley Women's Charity Organisation, aren't you?
Go on, Mother. You might as well admit it. Yes, she is. Why?
It's an organisation in which women for help can go to. Isn't that right?
Yes, we've done a great deal of useful work in helping deserving cases. I wasn't satisfied with the girl's claims. She seemed to me not a good case, and so I used my influence to have it reviewed. And in spite of what's happened to the girl since, I consider I did my duty. So if I prefer not to discuss it any further, you have no power to make me change my mind.
Yes, I have.
No, you haven't, simply because I've done nothing wrong and you know it.
I think you did something terribly wrong. You're going to spend the rest of your life regretting it. Oh, I wish you'd been with me tonight in the infirmary. You would have seen.
No, please, not that again. I can't.
Well, next time you imagine it, just remember that this girl was going to have a child.
No, oh, horrible. Mother, you must have known.
It's because she went to your mother's firm it's because she was going to have a child that she went to your mother's firm. And you have nothing else to tell me here.
I'll tell you what I told her. Go and look for the father of the child. It's his responsibility, and in the circumstances, I think I was justified. The girl had begun by telling us a pack of lies. Afterwards, when I got at the truth, I discovered that she knew who the father was. She was certain about it. And so I told her it was her business to make him responsible. If he refused, and in my opinion, he ought to be compelled to, then he must at least support her.
And what did she reply to that?
She said that the father was only a youngster, silly and wild and drinking too much. There couldn't be any question of marrying him. It would be wrong for the both of them. He had given her money, but she didn't want to take any more money from him.
And why did she want to take any more money from him?
All along nonsense. I didn't believe a word of it.
And why didn't she want to take any more money from this boy?
Oh, she had some fancy reason, as if a girl of that sort would ever refuse
I
money.
warn you, you're making it worse for yourself. What reason did this girl for not taking any more money from this boy?
Her story was that he said something one night that gave her the idea that it wasn't his money.
So you're not even sorry now, when you know what happened to the girl?
I'm sorry she should have come to such a horrible end. I accept absolutely no blame for it at all.
So who is to blame then?
First, the girl herself.
For letting me and father have her chucked out of a job.
Secondly, I blame the young man who was the father of the child she was going with. If, as she said, he didn't belong to her class and was some young, drunken idler, then it's all the more reason why he shouldn't escape. He should be made an example of. If the girl's death is due to anybody, then it's due to
Mother,
him.
stop!
Be
Stop.
quiet, Sheila.
But you don't understand!
You're behaving like a hysterical child tonight. And if you take some steps to find this young man and then make sure he's compelled to confess in public, his responsibility, instead of staying here asking quite unnecessary questions, then you really would be doing your duty.
Don't worry, Mrs. Berlin. I shall do my duty.
I'm glad to hear it.
No hushing up here. Make an example of the young man. Public confession of responsibility.
Certainly, I consider it your duty. And no, now, you'd like to say goodnight?
Not yet. I'm waiting
Waiting for what?
to do my duty.
Freeze. It is my duty as well. I have shown my view to the inspector, for I am the inspector. My duty to carry out justice for those with no voice and no face, the Eva Smith. When someone steals, we call them a thief, right? But what name should we give those who have but cannot give? What do you call them? Rich or a capitalistic idiot? Ignorance may be bliss, but ignorance and stupidity are both brothers.
No, darling. Yes. No.
Eric, I can't believe it. There must be some mistake. You don't know what we've been saying.
It's a good job for him he doesn't, isn't it?
Why?
Because mother's been busy blaming everything on the young man who got this girl into trouble and saying that he should be punished and made an example of.
That's enough, Sheila.
You haven't made anything better for me, mother, have you?
I don't know it was you. I never dreamt. Besides, you're not the type. You don't get drunk.
Don't start on that. I want to get on. When did you first meet this girl?
One night last November,
And where did you meet her?
I was at the Palace Bar with 2 or 3 chaps. I was a bit squiffy.
What happened then?
I began talking to her and stood her a few drinks. I was rather far gone by the time we had to go.
And was she drunk too?
She told me afterwards that she was a bit cheeky because she hadn't much to eat that day.
And why did she wonder?
She wasn't the usual sort, but, well, I suppose she didn't know what to do. There was some woman who wanted to help her go. I never quite understood that.
And you went with her to the lodgings that night?
Yes, I insisted, it seems. I'm not very clear about it, but after she told me she didn't want me to go. Well, I was in the state when a chap easily turned past me, and I threatened to make her raw.
So she let you in?
Yes, and that's when it happened. I didn't even remember. That's the hellish thing. Oh my god, how stupid it all is.
Alright, be quiet for a moment and listen to me. I don't need to know anymore. Neither do you. This girl killed herself and died a horrible death, but each of you helped to kill her. Remember that. Never forget it. But then again, I don't think you ever will. Remember what you did, Mrs. Birling. You turned her away when she needed most help, and you refused her the most even little bit of pitiable organized charity you could have had in your power to grant her. Remember what you did. Just used her for the end of a stupid drunken evening as if she was an animal, a thing, and not a person. No, you won't forget.
I know I had her turned out of a job. I started it.
You helped, but you didn't started it. You started it. She wanted 25 shillings a week instead of 22 and 6 pence. You made her pay a heavy price for that, and now she'll make you pay a heavier price still.
Look, Inspector, I give thousands, yes, thousands.
You're offering the money at the wrong time, Mr. Birling. Well, even Smith Squad, you can't do any more harm. You can't even do her any good now, either. You can't even say, I'm sorry, Eva Smith. Get this. One Eva Smith is gone, but there are still millions and millions and millions of John Smiths and Eva Smiths still left with us. Their lives, their hopes and fears, and their suffering and chance of happiness all intertwined with our lives and what we think and say and do. We don't live alone. We are members of one body and we are responsible for each other. And I tell you that the time will come when if men will not learn that lesson, then they will be taught it in fire and blood and anguish.
Freeze! At this stage, I was using the inspector to speak to you, to address to you that if we don't change our individualist, selfish ideology, we will all surely perish. We've had 2 wars. How many before we perish? How many? Do you think we need another one? I surely don't. Just food for thought. We were all in the same boat, bound by the same rope. If one person falls, everyone falls. If one person rises, everyone else rises.